Welcome to the Transition Coach podcast. I'm your host, Debjani Mukherjee, a transition and leadership coach. In each episode, we explore how clarity, courage, and identity evolve through transition. Today, I'm honored to speak with Hannah Wang, a whole person decision coach, founder of Beyond Decisions, a coaching and training company based in China, dedicated to elevating professional decision making. She has lived and worked across 6 countries. She helps high achievers turn uncertainty into clarity and fear into confident actions. Hannah, it's a pleasure to have you here with us today.
Thank you for your invite, Deb Jenny. It's a pleasure to be here.
So, just to begin with, my first question to you is, what is one personal transition that deeply shaped who you are today?
That's a really good question. I do have a few critical personal transitions in my life and work. So if I say one, I would say that's 2018. I closed my business and sold. I had two businesses at the same time. One is business consulting company, and another one is English learning center. So I sold my English learning center and closed down my consulting company, and I just moved my all the work that partner with the global companies in China. So I moved all the work to that company, and I decided to start from scratch and go to the US to study. So that's one of the critical decisions that I made in my life, because already at that time I had been working for 13 years, and as entrepreneur I had been working for almost 9 years, and the business was going well at that time, but I just feel like I just felt that wasn't my direction for the rest of my life. So I decided to completely change my perspective. So I just dropped down all my businesses and went to the US and started from like international students, and I started a new life there. So that is the one of the most important personal transitions in my life.
I heard you say it was a critical decision. Uh, what do you mean by that?
Um, yeah, sometimes when we make critical decisions, we even don't realize that was critical decisions. But at that time, I didn't know that, because I worked with some global companies in China. I developed China market, and I also had my own province, like the market, and I also had my learning company, learning center, and a business consulting company. So I had a different businesses, and my businesses are growing. And from outside, my family members or relatives think, oh, I'm kind of like a successful from their standard, because I started from scratch. And nobody really invested me financially. No, nobody really helped me, including my families. So they think, oh, and also I come from a poor village in China, so my parents doesn't have much education. So my friends and families think, oh, you're so through this diligent work, you're already be so successful. Um, so they have some kind of like hope that I could be more successful, get more influence in my industry, more money, have a better, comfortable life. But at that time, inside of me, actually already had I had so many disappointments, and I didn't trust anybody. Definitely doing business, everybody will experience some difficult times, challenge, and you experience some betrayal, and you trust somebody, but then they just step on you, and so it happens so often. So that's gradually I didn't believe trust anybody. I didn't trust myself, and I was so afraid to look at myself in the mirror every day. So because every time when I look at the mirror, I just saw myself so ugly, and I don't want to see myself at all. And at the same time, I just feel like I'm just like a little mouse in a spinning on the wheel every day. And I worked, I think at least 90% of time it's about working, even during the sleep, and my mind couldn't stop. I try to stop, but the mind is always thinking about something. And every day I have a phone call or here, there. I have so much burden and so much stress, but nobody really understood me, and I couldn't share with anybody because I could share with some of friends or some people, but then they just listen to that and then that's it. So and then I just realized that if I keep going like this way, I already see at that time I already saw my future, just a little bit more money, a little bit more influence in my industry, a little bit more achievement, and then
mm,
that's it. But
mm,
inside of me, I just feel like I'm sinking in the black hole, and
mm,
I couldn't see anything. And I just feel desperate. And I just feel like I really need to get out of this black hole. So, and then I made that quick decisions because at that time I was, I don't mind about age, I was 37. So, and for Chinese culture, Asian culture, think, oh, you're 37 and I'm still single, and you sold your business and you go to US, and then what? What can you get? And what are you
mm,
going to do after that? I had no idea. But what I really knew at that time is that's the end. That's the end of everything. Because the success, achievement, or relationship or resources or everything that
mm,
I've gained at that time, it
mm,
all means nothing to me because inside of me, I already hate myself and I hate everybody. So that's the
mm,
time I really made decision. Do I really want to be this kind of successful, or I want to have a real transformation, even though at that time I don't know what kind of transformation I want to have, but I know
mm.
that's not the place. So I made a
Okay.
really big decision. Took a big leap because
Mm,
like selling businesses that I started from scratch, several
mm,
different business started from scratch. It's very difficult because I always think, oh, if I sold this business, how can I get money for the future? And how are the people thinking of me? Because they think maybe you're stupid, and you say you're at this age, you're still trying to get some adventures. But I think I before I selling the selling my businesses, I've really sat on my like a living room, the couch for 2 months, and I just look outside of the window and thinking about because I traveled to different countries before for businesses, and the different people help me to open my perspectives. So I'm just really thinking if I'm just stay in the circle because I didn't know what I didn't know, so I
mm,
have to force myself sell everything so I wouldn't think, oh, if I when I go abroad, if it doesn't work out, so I always can come
mm,
back. I always can pick up the old thing. So at that time, I thought, no. So there's old Chinese saying, so something
mm,
like you have to put yourself in the death position, then you have the
mm.
opportunity to alive. So that means sometimes
Well,
you better cut off the other options. You just give yourself only one option so you really can commit to that option. So that's the big decision that I made at that time.
wow, you explained it so well. This takes me to the second question is that many leaders like you were going to the next phase. You chose to go to the next phase. So many leaders in transition struggle not with what to do, but who they are becoming. And so, how do you view identity during change? Because you said you sat in the couch for 2 months.
Yeah, that's a very good thing because at that time, actually, I wasn't very clear about my identity, but I did think about, at that time, I did think about who am I going to become. So at that time, I already sensed that. if I keep doing what I was doing, so I already know some titles, but I don't care about these titles anymore. And I know there's still lots of space that I can grow and I can learn. It doesn't mean I was so arrogant. I thought I knew everything. It doesn't mean that. But so that all these titles is all about outside. The people they give the titles to me, but I don't care because I really care at that time is about peace and a joy. I lost the joy. I lost peace, and I worry about the different things every day. And I I almost never had a peace at that time. Because I didn't have a time to think about peace, because I have to deal with all different kind of things. Because I was kind of like a new startup, like an owner. So I'm also learning how to manage the different things, how to deal with the different kind of relationships and finding the resources, and also always have to think about like the finance thing because I have to pay to my staff and the other like partners. And so, but inside of me is because I think the good thing is I had some, I would say, I don't just call them my friends. I would more think about them like my mentors. Some of them are very successful international people. They used to be some global companies like executive positions, or they work their business grow like different countries. So I was fortunately have I mean I would say more like I was blessed that I have these kind of mentors. So when I'm looking at their life, and I'm thinking about my life, and I always thinking about those people, and they didn't have like a rich background when they were small, and nobody, no parents, they couldn't support them. But how come they can be? I don't say just successful. They really helped so many people, and at their age, definitely they're older than me. So, but at that time, my identity is more about achievement. It's more about my own success. So actually, when I looked back, I just discovered that my identity attached to my achievement. So, and I did some reflection just in these years why I attach myself to this achievement or success. Because when I grow up, I couldn't get much my parents, they didn't praise people. Like that's a quite normal for Chinese culture, because we call that different cultures, like the Asian culture, Chinese culture, like shameful culture. So parents or my parents, or like great parents, their generation, they don't praise kids. They often more like they blame kids, and they think they don't think praising kids is a good thing. So every time I still remember when I was small and I did something good, and I begged my parents, can you say something good about me? And they always say, I don't want to say anything. So you still have that space to grow. And I don't want you to get proud of yourself. So that's how I just realized that when I was small, I always want to um, see who I am and what is the value that I bring to this world, but I never get it from my parents. So that's why when I grow up, so the only way that can prove my identity is I have to get a proof and from the other people. So that is a success achievement. But when I, like before 2018, when I had my own businesses, and I didn't realize that. I didn't realize that I had a different business altogether, and I worked very hard. And for the Chinese culture is, yeah, that you're a great person because you work always diligent. So everyone see it as a good character. But now when I look back, it's not just about good character, because inside of me, I had kind of a childhood trauma because I have to attach my identity to the outside, to the other people, what the other people think of me. So that's the time I discovered my identity. But right now, when I restarted my businesses, like these few years, and starting my coaching and training companies, I really know who I am and who I am, like who I am becoming, because I'm not attaching myself to any outside things, like not attaching myself to any about money, success, achievement, influence, position, or love, or things, or some people, because these are not my identity. My identity is, I do believe that everyone is unique. Everyone has their own strength. Everyone has their core values. Everyone has their life purpose. Everyone has their calling. So I know my calling. I know my core values. I know who I am. I know who I am becoming. I know all these things are blessings to me. And it's not about what the other people think of me. It's not about how the society changed. It's about inside of me. It's everyone is unique, and I already discover who I am. So right now, when I started my businesses, I really wanted to help more people in, no matter it's a life transition or professional transition or even business transition. And I believe that when we make decisions, it's not just about you list the pros and the cons and just evaluate the data or information. It's really about who are you becoming? Who are
Mm.
you? Making decisions is not about the information. Making decisions is about the direction. What direction are you walking toward to? So that's why I'm kind of like quite passionate about decision making right now.
Yeah, I can hear that in your voice. Absolutely, Hannah. Uh, Now, you call yourself a whole person decision coach.
Mhm.
What does that really mean in your practice?
Yep. Last 2 years, when I connect to different people, they came to me for life transition or some life critical decisions or for business or for the career transitions. And I just discovered that 99% of them, they come to me and they said, Hannah, I have a different options, but I don't know which options I should choose. So everyone, they have options. And I think I met few like early 20s, and some of them they may say, oh, I don't know which direction I'm going to go to, and I really need your input, and can you give me some advice? So at the beginning, when I give them advice, and they say, no, this is not what I want, and I want this, I want that. So and gradually I just discovered that no matter their early 20s or 30s, 40s, 50s, or 60s, and actually, everyone, they have options. But when I view options, their options is outside on the surface. When I talk about whole person is, we never can find the root cause if we just look at the surface. The options are on the surface. Information, data, or the resources are all on the surface. If we really want to make a decision that really matters, it's not just about a right decision, that decision that really matters to you, then we have to dig into inside. So when I call whole person decision making is inside out, we have to dig into who are you inside of you? What's the purpose of your life? What's the calling? What is your destination? It is all about inside. And then we look at the outside, the options and information and resources. But the the order must be come from inside first and then outside. So when I call whole person is inside out decision making.
Yeah. I think so very few people actually understand that how decision making involves your everything, your entire beings, not just the superficial. That is especially, no matter what the age is, I'm very convinced that this is a huge people get stuck in this area, definitely. uh, and so you spoke so much about your success. Like you connected your identity with success, achieving your, right? I could really sense that. You wanted to, you were looking for something very big. You had so much. You had your business, you had the global connection with global companies in China, yet you left everything and went out. We wanted to do more. So now, what is the most common fear you notice in high achievers facing change?
I heard most the people they say when they make big decisions or critical decisions, and they said the fear
Mhm.
of making wrong decisions. So
Mhm.
almost 100% of them, and they feel hesitant, including of me. So even though I'm a decision-making coach, it doesn't mean when I make a decision, I don't have a fear at all. Fear is a normal, like fear is kind of emotion. But for me, is we really have to really dig into what kind of fear. Why are you afraid of something? So most of people will say, I'm afraid of making wrong decisions. So if when I look at this making wrong decisions, fear of making wrong decisions, I will think about how do you measure wrong decision or right decision?
Mhm.
Most of the people, when I ask this question, they don't know. They never thought about that. What is your measurement? How do you know it's a wrong decision? How do you know it's a right decision? So when I talk about wrong decision, right decision, I'm not talking about a legal thing like, oh, definitely everybody know, oh, this doing these things are illegal. I'm not talking about this because just now you talk about high achievers. So they know what is legal, what is not legal, but still they're afraid of making wrong decisions. So, and the other thing, why are you afraid of making wrong decisions? Where does your fear come from? So if we don't really dig into these things, if we don't couldn't find the root causes for these two things, you always feel you have some fear. You're always afraid that you will make wrong decisions. You can make this decision kind of like right, and then when you make another decision, you still have lots of fear. You never can get freedom. So everyone, we want to make right decisions because we want to get some freedom. We want to get some certainty. We want to get some prosperity. But if you want to get some prosperity and you come from fear, how come it's just like you want to get some light, but you always live in the darkness? How can you get light if you live in the darkness? If we don't find the real reason about fear, and also if we couldn't really comprehend what is a wrong decision, what is a right decision, you never can make a kind of right decision. So what I believe that not everybody we need to just think about making right decision. We have to think about how to make decisions that really matters. That's even more important. For example, when we make decisions, I had one of clients and he has a startup like for 15 years. And one time he came to me and he said, oh, so I was so frustrated and we are looking for the manager and who speaks several different languages and has certain skills, but we couldn't find this kind of manager. And can you help me? How can we make a decision? If we don't have this manager, our business couldn't move forward. And it seems like so they want to find the right decision. Should I promote somebody from inside or find somebody outside? They tried both ways, but it didn't work. So what is the right decision for me? So it seems like it's about a business thing. But when I really dig into it, and I just found out what is the right decision for you for business standard, oh, promote somebody, maybe it's easier. It's kind of like a right decision. But he wasn't happy. And finding outside, and he recruit somebody and talk to this person, interview this person, but still he wasn't happy. What's the problem? So, and when I really dig into that and I find out this client, because for himself identity, because he never think he has so much value. He has extensive experience in his field and he managed so many business in so many different countries, but he get used to be an excellent person. He never feel that he is so valuable. So when he recruits the other people, he never think his company is valuable. So he think hiring somebody manager just to deal with the businesses. But the real problem is he couldn't find himself, even though he is so successful, because also back to his childhood and his parents never admit him. never think he is valuable when he was small. So
Mm.
that's something, and like we through the coaching, and finally he just discovered that. And so I asked him, what is the decision that really matters to you right now? And then finally, it's not about hiring person. And he said, it's about because I think I'm going to retire after a few years. I'm not sure if I'm going to sell this company to somebody or I just close down this company. So actually, that's the real problem. It's not about hiring somebody. So that's what I want to say that for me, when I think about like a coach, the people, it's I never thought about, okay, when clients say, oh, I have these options, help me. I'm not a consultant. I cannot make a decision for you. I'm not responsible for your life, but I can help you to see clearly what are you really looking for.
Yeah, that's such a uh, valuable. I think it's such an important difference between being a coach and a counselor, right?
Yeah.
You're making them think such a lot, finding value in themselves. Uh, like they do have the answers in them, but a lot of times, yeah, they can't. Most of the time, they do not know that how to think, and you're helping them to understand what decision making is. I'm also learning so much from you, Hannah. Here. Now, was this person from, just want to know, was this person, the example you gave, was he from China?
No, from East Asia.
So from East Asia. Okay.
Yeah.
So now, so what have you observed about how different cultures deal with uncertainty and change now when you moved to the West?
Um, I would say that when East meet West, definitely I could tell that definitely the difference is like you know that. So for Chinese culture or Asian culture, we are not very direct. So when they come to something like decision making, and they know there's some like deeper reasons, but sometimes they don't want to hear that because they feel shameful to reveal that part. But for the Western culture, I would say it's more direct. So they have a more room that we can speak more direct. Even the people there, if the like the clients that really trust you, they just open up. They don't have this much like a shame and feel like, oh, I don't want to tell you. And so that's something I feel like the culture thing is actually at the beginning I'm more used to the Western culture because I feel like it's easier. But then because I grew up in China and work in China and I get more Asian like a clients, and actually I kind of like understand because I understand their background, the culture, and why they're thinking like this way, because Asian culture, just now I mentioned about lots of about shameful culture. So I have to choose my word, even though for coaching most of the time we ask questions. But for Asian culture, I mean, for Chinese coaching is still, I would say, at the beginning stage of like in this industry. So some people they do want to at the end they want to hear some input. So because they don't know what they don't know, and so I could tell the differences. So that's why I started this coaching and training businesses, because I noticed that the clients in China or some Asian countries, they wanted me to provide some a little bit part of training. And then we can, after that, and then we can do the coaching. So that's the differences I noticed.
So what if they, if you give training, how
Um,
does that affect the decision making
I
processes
would
for them?
say I would say the confidence, because Chinese culture and I think Asian culture, in compared to the Western culture, it's very obvious. People they lack of confidence. They are not getting used to just speak voice, let the voice out. They're not getting used to, okay, I just open up and say what's inside of me. So that's why the years before COVID in China, and very, very few people, they go to the counselor. And very few people, they just go to the they think about the psychology, this kind of things, because they were so afraid, because they're afraid that people they know some darknesses inside of me or something not good inside of me. So because they grow up like just
Mm.
because I don't know India, but in China, lots of ranking from kindergarten to elementary school, middle school, high school, even in the company, every time. So people they like to ranking your based on the performance, everything based on your performance. So, and they publicly show this kind of performance. So people are so afraid that they will lose face, not because they really because they care so much about face, but the culture shaped them. They have to be careful about what they say to people. Do not open up too much. So, yeah, I would say that's the Chinese culture.
There's such a lot of pressure actually in them inside them, right? Because of the environment, because for the outside, what they are faced, they're expected to meet the expectations. Yeah. I just read about. I know that you mentioned about decision science. I've read about. I know of this about you. So, can you explain how does decision science influence the way people make meaningful life choices? What is decision science?
When we talk about decision science, it's lots of time we think about business, like we think about the data analysis, and we think about and the different business decision like decision making model. So this is quite common for businesses and also quite common for people like when you do the small business or you work with a like you're a professional work in some company. But when I talk about decision science, and we also forget that decision like psychology. So, and also cognitive behavior, like these kind of things, and or neuroscience. So there, when we make a decision, the reason why we think that making decision is really hard, especially making critical decisions, is really hard. If just look at the data, and then we can make a big decision, and we can make a big decision, right? Then it's pretty easy. Then we won't struggle. So lots of time they feel like the decision making decision is hard. The what words are they going to use? They were not sure. They're hesitate. They they're afraid that they're making wrong decision. They're afraid that they will regret. Lots of time people they make decisions. Actually, it's related to their emotions,
Yeah.
related to their belief.
Mm.
So these are so soft. Sometimes is invisible. So, but most of the time we just see the visible things. We just use the visible things, analyze the visible things, and we think we can make decisions. But making decision is about change. Is when I say making decision, I want to emphasize making critical decisions. It's
Mm.
all about change. But when I talk
Mm.
about change, I talk about personal. When I talk about change, so that means why I'm so afraid of change. It's all about inside. Definitely, I know that the world is so uncertain, and everybody want to get some certainty, and everybody says, "Oh, if I make a wrong decision, I have to bear some negative consequences." And this negative consequence is so true, and it get involve so many people. For example, husband makes some critical decision, getting involved with the whole family, or even wife make some decision, get involved with the whole family and the children said, "Okay, like a future." And the leader of the company make wrong decisions, or organization leader of organization make wrong decisions, and the other staff or even stakeholders they will get involved. That I understand sometimes it's so complicated, so they have to really think through and the different relationships, resources, and the consequences. But beside that, and why this person, you are so afraid of making decision.
Mm.
What are you afraid of? And when I'm talking about identity, many times actually, lots of people, they're so afraid of that because, especially high achievers, They're afraid that they fail. Why they're afraid of they fail? Because they're afraid that what the other people think of them. They're afraid that if they fail, they even themselves, they will deny themselves. They don't see the value. And if people they have some success, they're so afraid that once they fail, they will lose certain title or even social status. They have to maintain this social status. They have to maintain this image of what the other people think of them. So the cost of maintaining this image is huge. So if they don't think about these things, and when they look at the data information, they know the people, they know the environment, it's much easier to make a decision. But most of people, they're afraid. They're afraid of ruining some relationship. Are they really going to rule this relationship? Maybe not. But because of they think, they want to maintain relationship in a certain way. They don't want to change the relationship, like status of relationship or the state of relationship. They don't want to. They're holding it because when they have it, when they don't change, then they could feel comfortable to hold this position, hold this success, hold this image. Why they have to break it? Why they have to break it inside out? Unless the environment force them to break. So that's something I would say that if everybody, we don't tap into inside of me, we always actually, you can be very successful, you can have lots of money, but what is the cost? The cost is not just about your time, it's not just about your energy, it's not just about your family, or it's not just about your hobbies. The cost is inside of me. You always have to bear the consequences about I have to be this kind of person. That's the burden inside of me. So they have to grow out of it.
Yeah, so this talks about, I think, mindset.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, what mindset distinguishes someone who transforms through transition?
It's very interesting because we often talk about a fixed mindset and a growth mindset. We also talk about a teachable or coachable. So, and it is quite, actually, it is quite challenge if people, they have a fixed mindset. Fixed mindset, it's easy to hear that when something happened, they already give a conclusion. For example, somebody said, oh, maybe you can try the other way. Or for example, when we, I give some example, so if somebody says, oh, I have a stable job, like I have a client, he said, I have a stable job, but now this is second half of my life. So I'm more thinking about the meaning of my life.
Yeah.
So I am thinking, okay, maybe I need some transition. Maybe I really want to do something I want to do. And then he told me that the wife said, no, why you have to do that? You already be successful. It's already stable. I don't think you can be successful if you change to other direction. So it seems like it's a kind of a normal conversation like between families. But you see, this wife already gave the conclusion, you cannot be successful. So, but why this wife give the conclusion? You even don't know what happened. This husband said he even hasn't told the wife what he was thinking of. But the wife
Yeah.
always said, no, I don't think you can be successful. I already know you. So this is kind of a mindset because the mindset, the fixed mindset is kind of like arrogant. I know everything. I know you. I'm better than you. So I know you. I see some like flaws in the past. I see some flaws now. So I can predict your future. I am your God. I can control your future because I know everything. So the fixed mindset, gradually, I just realized that it's about arrogant. You think you know everything, but also I met some like people, the reason why they have the fixed mindset, because the lack of something. They are so afraid to let the other people know that actually they don't know the things. They have to pretend they know the things because they were so afraid that to reveal their vulnerabilities because they were afraid because
Yeah.
definitely they're in relation to their, I mean, some negative experiences or negative, like, I mean, childhood, like some trauma. It's related to that. They don't have the confidence. They couldn't find who they are. So they have to pretend I am the tiger. This is my territory. I know what I'm doing. But in China, we say paper tiger. So you're a tiger, but paper, when you poke it, it's
Couple.
broken. Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah. Now, this is about your book. You've written your book, and what's the name of your book,
The
please?
5% decision rule.
Okay. Now, if your book changes just one thing for readers, what would you like it to be?
That's a good question. Um, I would say one thing I really, when I'm connecting with the different people and talking to different people and the clients, I would say one thing, if I can help my readers to change when they make critical decisions, is really about to start to not just worry about too much about the things that I couldn't control. So everyone, I mean, we live in the uncertainty like every day, 24 hours. So fear of uncertainty, it's normal for everyone.
Mm,
Um, but there is something inside, it's a certain. But we have to really look at that. The inside, I would one thing I would say, what's the meaning of your life? When I say this, that if you, some people think there's no meaning of life. So then the things that we're doing create meanings. If people have this kind of philosophy, and when they make decisions, it doesn't matter because everything they're doing creates some meanings. There's
mm,
no wrong, no right, because everything has meaning. Yes, that's right. You do whatever you do. So that means why you're afraid of. Why are you afraid of that? So the people have this philosophy. I mean, just my point of view, they're just like the leaves floating on the water. They always float from there to there, just based on the water, how the water flows. And they flow there, they feel, oh yeah, I have a meaning. Yeah, that's great. Going there, yeah, I have a meaning. That's great. But at the end, inside of them, they're always longing for something. They don't know what is that. So, but if the people they have the philosophy, they think the meaning of life is rooted in their base, like the performance. If they don't have the
mm.
performance or people they don't recognize their performance, what should they do? The decision that I'm making, and when I say this, because I met lots of like the people in the past, I always admire people who go to the Ivy League like schools and like the Chinese culture. We always think those people are smart, they might have comfortable life, and we admire, look up to these people. When I really studied in the US, and I discovered that, oh, lots of my friends or the people in my circle, they either have a PhD or they're from kind of like Ivy League or great schools. And then when I look at those people, and I just suddenly just feel like, what's the meaning of that? I work with my colleagues are from those schools, and I also gradually got my MBA and also jumped into PhD program. And it seems like from the other people say, oh, you have some achievement, but what's the meaning for me? Because in the past I achieve, I want to get this kind of performance achievement, but when I have these things, what's the meaning? So I ask myself so many times, what are you looking for?
Hmm.
When I don't have this like a higher education degree, I want to have that. When I have it, I'm still looking for something. What I'm looking for? What's the meaning of my life? It's just like when I before 2018, when I had my business, before I decided to drop my business, the same thing. From outside, they think, oh, you kind of like successful, but what's the meaning of that? So that's something in my book. I really talk about how to discover the meaning of your life. Because when a person have the different philosophies, different understanding or different point of view of the meaning of life, when you make critical decisions, it's definitely different. So that's the one thing I want to help readers to change. When we make critical decisions, do not just think about what options you're thinking of. Look at inside the meaning of your life.
Okay. So will the book teach him anything about resilience,
Yeah.
decision making?
That's a good question. So when we talk about the resilient, lots of time it's for example, I more think about just athlete. So they have lots of resilient, or the soldiers, they have lots of resilient. And for our daily life or for professionals, and when I talk about resilient, like definitely it's come from different things. But one thing resilient, I would say about the goal, the clear goal, the clarity. If you have enough clarity, I mean, clarity is not just one thing. Oh, I have the clarity which direction I'm going to. That's just one kind of like a kind of clarity. But we also have the clarity on the process in this process and align with the long-term goal. If we have the clarity, so we are more resilient. And in the past, some people often think, oh, I'm so afraid that I just lay down there and suddenly I go into some season and I have no motivation to move and I just lay down there and I just don't want to do anything and I'm so afraid of, and even friends and family still afraid that I kind of like, I lost the motivation to move on. But that'd be fine. When we talk about resilient, it's just like a curve. We have to go up and down, up and down, and up and down. It's never be a straight line. But if we have a clear goal and if we know who I am, if we know that who I am becoming, if I know what's the meaning of my life, if I have the clear goal for certain direction, then resilient it will come along. So that's something I would say that, I mean, definitely there are some skills or some technical things we need outside to push us. Sometimes for certain people, push us to move forward. But if we don't have these things and you just rely on the people outside to push you, it doesn't work. They can push you maybe just 1 day, 2 months, or 6 months, and then that's it.
Something I heard yesterday, I was talking to someone. So he said that at times when there is a need, he knows he has to go somewhere, he has to be somewhere to work at his workplace. But something else has come up in between. So he asks him two questions, whether to take decision, whether to go or not. And that is the two questions he asks himself are, if he's not there, will those people suffer? Then he asks the questions, yes or no. He thinks, he finds reasoning. Or will they die? Then he again asks himself the question. So then he said, then he decides whether he should go or not. I don't know what kind of decision making this explains. Can you just, what do you feel about this thought in just a line or maybe two lines?
Can you reframe your question?
Yeah, when he thinks this way about, like I said, whether to be go with, I mean, to take any decision, like he asked him two questions. For example, if he's not there, if he doesn't go to that workplace where he's expected to, because something else has come up equally important. So, and he tells others also the same things. Ask yourself two questions: whether will those people suffer because they're not there, or Will they die because because your presence is not there? He asks himself those two questions, and then he decides.
Yeah, I mean, definitely that's one
What
of
kind
the
of
ways.
clarity does this question? This kind of decision making gives him. What do you
Yeah,
feel about?
yeah, I would say that if it is not like a critical decisions, that's sometimes
Yeah.
we do need to make quick decisions, not just like really like it take a long time to evaluate or think that much. But if it is like daily decisions, and definitely we think about the timely, and because continuity is very important. And if it is a critical decisions, I would say there it's not about right or wrong, like if it is the best approach or the wrong approach, because different people have the different decision-making style, and we have our own personalities. So some
Mm.
people, they're like, for example, if they're a doer, so they really like to make it like more obvious. You make a decision and you want to see the result. And if somebody is a more like it's their feeler, so when they make a decision, they more care about their own feelings and the other people's feelings. If they're about thinker, so they really think more thoughtful and a long term. So I would say when we make a different, like when we have the different approach of decision makings, it's never be like there's only one way, one fits all. But we
Mm.
do have the different personalities. So that means we do have the preference how we make decisions. If you ask me, so your friends, this example, if it is a critical decisions, I would say that's one angle that we can think of. And the other thing is if I do these things, if I don't go there, so maybe the first thing I'm not thinking about if I will affect somebody else, but the
Mm.
first thing is if I will regret after 5 years or 10 years, if it is a critical decision. When I
Mm.
look back, will I regret I get involved or I didn't get involved? Is that the person is that the person I will admire? If you admire somebody and this
Mm.
person like make a choices, are you happy with these choices, with one of the the choices? If you're happy, then you do it. If
Mm.
you're not happy, if you don't admire yourself,
Mm.
then don't make this direction. So that's something I'm learning. I always think about inside of me. Is
Mm.
this the if I go this direction? For example, yesterday I met some friends and somebody they're making critical decisions, and we have conversation. Actually, we have a 9 hours conversation. We just time flew by. I mean, that's just a kind of like a meeting up. It's not like real clients, but I don't need to spend this much time. But I know their daughter and the mother, they really need help because it's so critical for the daughter's whole life. So
Mm.
it's a free. And
Mm.
am I happy spending this much time? Yes. But if I'm thinking about from business standing point, no, it's not worthy. They might not pay for me. And why I have to give out everything to this family? Because at that time, I do feel like it's not everything is about money.
Mm.
Why couldn't I give my time to them? Because this just maybe one time meeting can really change their life. Why I have to everything focus on money? So that's something because if if I quit for the just have a conversation half hour and just left, and if I can save my time, save my energy from business point of view, I can do the other things. But will I admire myself to do that? No,
Mm.
then I wouldn't do that. So I just spend the time with them and it really helped out. So that's something I want to say that if it's critical decision, always about me, if I will be happy. Definitely, the other thing is everyone will think about inside of us, we have the different measurement. How do you know this is kind of person you want to become? Why you want to become this kind of person? So this is
Mm.
another topic. How this is a yeah, and it's not just about decision making.
Yeah. Oh, I learned so much today, especially these three things that which you said. about approach. The approach a person takes for taking decisions, that depends on the personality again. And
Right.
it never occurred to me. I never thought this way earlier. It never struck me. And what is the meaning in life? And do they have clarity? It's so much actually. Hannah, now this is going to be a rapid fire question.
Yeah,
I'm going to ask you for 5 questions, and you will get just 5 seconds for each question.
sure.
Are you ready for that?
Yes,
Okay.
let's do it.
Now, all right. Just one word or one sentence, okay? A decision that changed your life.
Drop my business.
A question that transformed your coaching.
Can you say it again?
A question that transformed your coaching.
What are you looking for
A mistake leader often makes in transition.
from outside in?
A
That's
strength,
mistake.
5 seconds, okay? A strength undervalued in uncertainty.
Can you say it again?
A strength that is undervalued in uncertainty.
That's a hard one.
A strength that is undervalued in uncertainty.
Courage.
Last, one word you associate with courage. Yeah,
Well,
this is yeah.
um, calling.
Okay. Now, that's great. I must say that, yeah, you are very good, whole person decision coach. So you could quickly answer all your questions so well. Now, Hannah, if you would say one sentence to your younger self, then what would that be?
Nothing to lose. Just do it.
All right. So, Hannah, it was a real pleasure, listening to this powerful conversation for the last, I think, 45 minutes that we were together. And thank you so much for being here with all of us. And anything else, just one last bit, if you would have any message you have for your viewers, because decision making is something everyone's, it's a, people get,
Mhm.
it's not
Yeah,
problem,
because
I'll say, yeah, it's a big
mhm.
the
Yeah,
life, every moment, yeah.
yeah, I think because in school or everywhere, we never learn how to make decisions. And we learn make decisions from experience, from worry and from experience and from the education what the other people say. So, but the decision making, it is a skill, critical skills that we can really learn. If we don't learn now, we always have a struggling making even daily decisions. So that's one thing I want to say at the very end that find a different way to really learn how to make decisions and also reflect on the decision that you have made before, because that's one of the powerful ways that you can really discover what you had done before and what are you looking for in the future.
Thank you so much, Hannah. And of course, your book is in Chinese. So once it is written in English, I think I'm going to be the first one to buy. Yeah.
Thank you
Yeah.
very much, Deb Jenny. Thank
Wish
you.
you all
You
the
take care.
best. My pleasure. Yes. Thank you.